Hello everybody. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for everyone who has been watching these tutorials. I hope you guys have been enjoying them as much as I have. Today's tutorial, we're going to learn how to use variables. I think I mentioned keeping a score and something like that for the wizard game or the soccer game, one of the two. So in this project, they teach us how to do that by using variables. And for those of you who do not know, a variable is basically a memory allocation that you give a program. So it's a little box somewhere in your program that saves a variable such as a score, a time, the name of the user, that will be there in memory for the next time you open the program. It would pull that out. For example, the user's name, when you play a game, it asks you for that. That's a permanent variable that the program saves. For scores and things like that, it usually resets them. So that's a quick overview on a tutorial. Let me show you guys a little demo of the project we're working on today. So in this project, we have a score and a timer. The timer is counting down. It gives you 20 seconds to click on as many fish as you can, and if you click on them, the score I'm horrible at this, the score will increment. There it is, one. And it's the fish are random. Apparently I'm very bad at catching fish, so I only got one. But the score is random. I mean, the location of the fish is random. So you just have to kind of anticipate where the next fish is gonna pop up. So that's a quick little demo. Let's go ahead and get started with the coding. And again, I'm planning to make tutorials later and explain all these topics of variables, loops, and all the concepts of programming in more detail. I'm working on that on the side, but at the same time I do want to put this stuff up. So hope you guys enjoy what I've been posting. Let's start with our stage. We're gonna do the ocean, the underwater, and we're going to grab a fish, which it's a fish. Okay, so this sprite here, it has multiple fish in it, and that's what the book is using. Again, this project is from Coding for Kids in Scratch 3. Wonderful book, really loving it. Let's go ahead and start with the code for this program. Like always, we start with a flag event. And we're using a forever loop. We want it to switch customs. Now the custom, since we want random fish, we want it to switch at random. And there's 4 customs, so we wanted to go 1 through 4 randomly. We also want the size of the fish to be slightly smaller. And the direction of the fish, we want it to be random as well. Between -90 and 90. And we want it to go to a random position. And finally, we want it to wait at that position for 1 second. So we click on the flag, and this would show our fish everywhere, randomly just appearing. And then we click on it, nothing happens since we haven't added that code yet. But this is what this piece of code does. Okay, now let's add the variables. Here on the side we have these variables, orange, dark orange bubble, and they allow you to create variables here by clicking on make a variable. We're gonna make the score variable, and you could decide to put it only on a specific sprite, but we only have one sprite at the moment, so it doesn't matter if we choose all sprites or one. So I'm just gonna leave it as default. And as you can see, it pops up here on the top, and then we're gonna add the functionality for that score because we want it to increment as we click on the fish. So when the flag is clicked, we want our scoreboard to increment by 1. We're gonna set the score of our variable, which is score, by 1, incremented by 1. Well, actually, I take that back. We want to set it to 0 when the flag is clicked. This is initializing the variable, so every time we restart the game, we want to make sure it starts at 0. And then forever, we wanted to have an if statement inside of it. And then the if statement, we're going to check for 2 things. We're going to check if the mouse is over the fish and if the mouse got clicked. Then we increment by 1. Now, I found it easier to do this and stuff outside of the if because it's gonna get long and crazy. So it's harder to put it back to where you want it to go. Okay, so we want to see if it's the mouse pointer is touching and if the mouse got clicked. We want those 2 to be checked in this if. And I found that it's easier to point with it like this and make that box turn white so you can poke it in there than to have to hover over it because you can't see it. So if you go like this, it's way much more easier to put it in there. Now we want to change the score. Here's the one where we used to increment. Change the score by 1 for our scoreboard or our score variable. And then we want to wait. We want to wait 0.5 seconds. Now we test this part of the code. The fish are popping randomly. We still don't have a timer because we haven't put that in, but if I click on the fish, I should start getting the counter counting up. Now let's do the timer. We're gonna add another variable called time. As you can see, it pops it right here. You can move them around the screen wherever you want. I'll leave them there for now. We're gonna do another when the flag is clicked. So we want all of this to, when the flag is clicked, we want it to happen. So our timer is going to be counting down. Therefore, we want to set our timer to the initial variable to be 20 because we want 20 seconds on the timer. And change your time to 20. We want this to be repeated 20 times. We're going to wait for 1 second. And we're going to change the timer by -1 since we're decrementing. No, -1. We don't want 14. Not with my abilities to catch fish. Alright, so that's the code. Let's give it a try, see what it does, see if I code it correctly. So I did miss something. Once the timer comes down to 0, it's all supposed to stop the whole game. So I want to put that in here. Well, outside of the repeat loop. After timer stops, then the game should stop. Let's redo that and try it, see if it stops. There, the fish are no longer popping up. So quick overview of the code and what it does. This here is our control for the fish. This code right here, it tells our fish to change the way it looks at random forever. It also changes its size to 75 because we want the fish to stay at 75. And picks the location of the fish randomly, and also where it appears randomly for every second. The code down here, this is for our variable score, and what it basically does when your mouse is touching up here in the fish and you click, that's what this if statement is doing. If your mouse is touching and the mouse is clicked, those are your two conditions you're checking. Then change the score by 1, so increment the score by 1, and you do that every 5 seconds. Every 0.5 seconds. Now this other section here, that one controls the time. We want our initial timer, because it's a countdown timer, to be at 20 seconds, and the repeat loop allows for us to repeat 20 times. And this repeat loop, basically what it's doing, it's decrementing the timer by 1 every second. And once it finishes, it stops the whole game stops. So before I leave you guys, I wanna add something really quickly to this game. I feel like a lot of them are missing some sort of sound, music. So we want to add music to our games. We do again when the flag is clicked. We wanted to go ahead and play the sound. So we're gonna play, let's play bubbles. And we wanted to do this forever, so let's add that in there. Forever play bubble sounds. Now let's see if this works. There we go. So that's how you add sound to a game. We could change the sounds, but I'll leave that up to you guys. Go ahead and modify your code and change it as you want, and leave me comments below. I'll go check out everyone's project. I would love to see what you guys change and how you modify it. Thank you very much for everyone for watching and supporting me on this venture. I will continue on it and see where it takes us. And see you guys tomorrow.